At MP Coney Island, it's all about the chili and has been for nearly 100 years since we opened in 1923. We helped put Newcastle on the map as the hot dog capital of the world. Visit our store, place an order for pickup at mpconeyisland.com, delivery with DoorDash, or find the grocery store near you with our chili locator on our website. Want to own your own MP Coney Island? Now you can with our franchise system. At MP Coney Island, it's all about the chili.
Okay, episode 64, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight. The VentiSei Glorious Tradition, sponsored by nephew Denny, and Denny's father is sitting with us tonight. Thank you, Denny, for helping us out. I'm your host with got a nice crew here tonight. We're going to be talking about a ton of stuff that's been happening, and it's Thanksgiving Eve. Thanksgiving Eve, come fast. Next thing is Christmas. So I was just saying earlier when we were just talking about it that I never mixed so much stuffing in my life. So Tony got the stories too, but we're going to save it. We need 3 hours, right, Keith? Tony's going to give us some scoop in North, and Johnny's going to. We have a zillion questions to ask you.
Oh, Lord.
Zillion about some of this. And we're not downing the referees.
No.
We have questions, and he has probably the main one he has is probably a good one. Before we always start the show off, we always go back to this date in sports, which would be, this is the 27th?
27.
So November 27th, back in 1940, us older guys remember Tom Harmon.
Oh, yeah.
He was the 6th Heisman Trophy Award winner from Michigan. And he was a broadcaster, too, Tom.
Right.
In 1941, for the Pia boys, Joe DiMaggio was named MVP for the second time. 1952, the year I was born, only win ever for NFL's Dallas Texans. They were 1-11. Now it's the Houston Texans. They beat the Bears, imagine that, 27-23 at the Rubber Bowl in Akron, Ohio. Wow, that's something. Wow. In 1956, in 1957 season, the Green Bay Packers drafted Paul Hornung he was the first-round draft pick for the Packers. And in 1997, Lions' Barry Sanders becomes the NFL's second all-time rusher. Barry Sanders. What's his name? Put a show on last Sunday.
Oh, my.
200.
Barkley, 255.
255 yards.
2 touchdowns.
Ziggy, Dave Justy. Justy?
Pirates pitcher.
He was born on this date he was a pitcher for the Pirates. He's from Seneca Falls, New York. So that's what I got for the stuff we do early all the time. And something interesting. I'm going to read out a Glorious Tradition, but I'm going to read this. I was looking through this. I think Bob Parada gave me this. Some trivia. Astonishing but true football trivia. Helmets were not mandatory. I didn't know this until 1944. Did you know that?
No.
Wow.
No, I didn't know that.
Right there. Not mandatory in pro football until 1944. That's amazing. Is that something? I don't want to.
A lot of hard heads before 40.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. They wore that helmet. If it was even that good, you know.
I wore that helmet in '67.
2 bars. Pete Gogolak. Us old guys remember him.
Yep.
He was the first NFL soccer-style place kicker in 1964. We all remember him.
Yep.
Pete Gogolak.
Pete Gogolak.
Kansas City.
Yeah. Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. In 1978, the New York Giants fans were so distraught. Oh, imagine that.
Like they are today.
Over their team's poor play that they gathered in the parking lot after a Sunday afternoon game and build a bonfire and burn all their season tickets. That's crazy, huh? In 1980, NBC experimented by televising, I remember this, by televising the New York Jets Miami Dolphins game without any announcers.
I did remember that.
Remember that? Very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Yeah.
The broadcast used all sound from the field and from the stadium's public address system only. How's that, Bob? How do you like that?
Good.
How you like them apples?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Now, I didn't know this either. Maybe I'm just not back in the trivia. The Baltimore Colts, when they were the Baltimore Colts, found future Hall of Fame quarterback Johnny Unitas playing semi-pro football for the Bluefield Rams in 1955. after he had been cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They stumbled upon him.
Huh? He
Yeah.
stumbled upon him. Oh, this is, I thought this was a good one too. In 1962, the Buffalo Bills claimed a San Diego Chargers quarterback on waivers for $100. Can you imagine that? To become their starter. This man later led the Bills to the AFC Championship wins over the Chargers in '64. His name was Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp.
Congressman.
Who later became a senator
Senator.
Senator Jack Kemp.
and a vice presidential candidate.
Yeah, he was.
Who was he with?
He's not friends with Trump, though.
No. He was a Democrat, I believe.
He came, this man later led the Bill. Okay, the only kicker ever to be named an NFL MVP is Mark Mosley of the Washington Redskins in 1982. He was named MVP. That's very interesting too.
I don't think that would happen in this day and age, for sure. I think running backs can barely get in that conversation anymore.
Go back to burning the season tickets. I got a good friend, I graduated college with, lives in Detroit, and became a Lions fan when he moved up there. And back in their years with, Wayne Fonts and all that, when they were terrible, he said, I had to stop at the bank the other day. He said, and I left my 2 tickets on the dashboard of my car. He said, somebody broke into my car. I said, don't tell me they took your tickets. He said, no, they left me 2 more.
That's a good one, John.
Hey, Sam, before you read that, we talk Lawrence County football and stuff. Well, I was going through some pictures today, okay? And I happened to get a yearbook, 1938 Bessemer, okay? You'd be interested, okay? Now, I was going through it like, this was my mother's, okay? And athletics, there's a picture of like a football team.
Okay,
I mean, but
that would have been that was Bessemer a high school?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
this was Bessemer High School.
Bessemer preceded Mohawk.
This was their football team. They went undefeated that year. They scored 197 points, okay, to 18. The other teams only had 3 teams scored 6 points,
Wow.
okay? And none of them were over 200 pounds. None of the players were over 200 pounds.
Wow.
They played Zionopol, Hubbard, Ursuline, Union, Shenango, McDonald, Freedom, Lowellville, and Elwood City. And they didn't qualify for the WPIAL because they didn't play enough league games for that.
Interesting.
The only teams they played were Elwood City, Shenango, and Union.
Yeah.
So
And
when did Mohawk come in existence?
Mohawk came,
Oh, I seen that today, and
I went to the high school in '63. I think Mohawk became Mohawk
Mohawk High School.
60.
School district.
I think it was 60, somewhere
1960.
around there.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, NESHANNOCK, that's a question, I don't know if anybody knows that. When did NESHANNOCK, because a lot of NESHANNOCK people went to Newcastle before they became NESHANNOCK.
Yeah.
So NESHANNOCK had to be in the 50s.
Bessemer.
We
I
have
don't
to,
know
I
if they
gotta
were
find that out.
Yeah, I think they were
Does
before
anybody know that?
Mohawk, but
Anybody
I'm not
sit here
sure.
know
No, I
that?
don't.
Ronnie, you know that? Do you know when NESHANNOCK became NESHANNOCK? He'll look it up if he can find it. But I was always curious to that because tons of people, they went to Newcastle. And if you can remember, we've talked about this before, Newcastle had 2 graduating classes for 15
Oh,
years.
a number of years, yeah.
15 years.
Really?
You had the
They had a
you had the
January
winter-
class.
Yeah,
The high school opened
And
up
a
in
May class.
1959.
59, NESHANNOCK, okay.
A year before Mohawk, then. So they're roughly around the
Right,
same time.
right.
It says here, it proved itself to be the greatest football team in Lawrence County that year.
Wow. Is Raton on there?
No, there's Pizzula on there, and
I bet
let me,
Hank Pizzula?
Probably, huh?
Carmen,
Carmen Pizzula.
Carmen
Oh, that
Pizzula.
was even the older brother.
okay.
Angelo, and then Hank.
There was Andy Shigula, Marshall McCree, MCCREE, Joe McCree, Jim Moses, Alex Scuda,
I know Joe McCree.
Bill Pelto, Joe Kennedy, he was their leading scorer, he was a junior.
Oh, wow.
He scored 12 touchdowns that year. That's Stanley Scuda, Dave Craycraft, Mario Coladanero, Tony Zurich, Andy Drosbach, Archie Shoup, Herbert Haribar. That's.
A few Hillsville names on there too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just, this was their starting lineup. And the 6 points that they give up to them three others, underclassmen, it was the second team. It wasn't the first team.
I was like I think Clarendon was saying that. For sure. We'll get to that later. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting,
Yeah,
you know.
very.
That's an oldie, man.
1938.
1938,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
You can look at it, Tony. There's a lot of names in there. Pitchers and, I don't know if they were the Warriors back then. I kept looking to see what they were.
Cementers.
There was nothing on there.
I'm sitting, no, I'm being
really?
I'm serious, yeah.
The Cementers.
No matter
That's what Smith-
no matter what I looked in that book, and I even tried online, and I could not find.
Maybe
That,
the
I'm not
Dynamite?
saying for sure,
Yeah.
but that comes to my mind. I think I've heard that before. They were the Cementers. But, I'm old, I don't know.
I don't.
I think it's these guys.
Okay, thank you again.
Yep.
But anyway, we're into the glorious tradition, the WPL champion Newcastle Red Hurricanes in 48, back to 49. Unbelievable. Newcastle shut out 8 opponents en route to a 43-14 victory over Monongahela in the WPL championship game at Pitt Stadium. The awesome defensive display included 67-0 victory over Butler. Imagine that.
Wow.
Probably the most lopsided win in the Hurricanes' history. Once again, the Canes' only loss in the 11-game season was to non-league foe Warren, Ohio Hardy. Ralph Plone, who scored all 4 touchdowns against Mount was named All-State fullback. That was 1949. They scored 343 to 27. They gave up 27 points. That was a Brian Ballard. In 1949, McKeesport was the only WPL team to score against the undefeated Newcastle this season. The touchdowns and the pat were not enough. However, the Canes eked out an 8-7 victory at Pitt Stadium for their second consecutive WPL championship and Coach Brian Ball's 7th title. John Russo scored the winning touchdown on a short plunge after the Canes had registered a safety when Danny DeFalco made a tackle in the end zone. DeFalco had been a hero in the Farrell game when he recovered a fumble to advance the ball in a long run. Highlights of the season of Tiger Stadium was a 19-0 victory over previously unbeaten Hardback before 15,000 fans. The Canes wound up 11-0 for the year. Back-to-back WPL champions, 48 and 49.
You mentioned the win over Monongahela. Now that's part of the Ringgold School District.
Right.
The other part of that school district is Donora, which the fame of Stan Musial, Ken Griffey Sr., Joe Montana. All 3 of those guys were Donora guys.
Well, Hardbrack would have been what now?
Highlands.
Hardbrack is
That's
Highlands,
Highlands.
yeah.
Frank and I played in that game. Denny was a sophomore.
That was their last.
Frank, Bobby.
That was their last game as
Hardback.
Hardback when
They're
we
not
played
Hardback.
down there. That was their last game.
It was so cold, freezing. Lindy, I think he beat up 11 guys at halftime. With his forearm.
And they still use, right, Frank, the visitors' locker
It
room.
was going down into a bunker.
It's a bunker.
Underneath.
Yes, it's underground.
Right. Yep.
True. The old
Still
stadium-
use that.
The old stadium sits, you could still.
Right behind the
old
exit,
stadium.
yep.
Right.
They still use that bunker.
The new stadium down there is very nice.
Oh, it is, yeah.
They just refurbed it about 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. But yeah, that locker room is still in use.
Yep.
Because when we worked there, we would have, 2 of our crew would have to go down and get them to bring them out on the
It
field.
looked like a
you know.
bomb bunker. You were
Yeah,
going down
yeah.
into.
Yeah. The field looks like sand, right? Sandy color.
Oh, no, that's Bill
Bobby, you
Vernon.
remember
That's
that?
Bill Vernon.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Phil?
Well, I think these
You were
guys
a
both
sophomore.
said,
Denny and Bobby were sophomores.
they played on that field behind there, right?
It was in the back. They had the old, the lights were on
bleacher.
yeah,
Yeah, they were all bleachers, and the street was right there, right behind.
Right
it.
off.
they were on old wooden telephone poles.
Yeah,
They're still down there.
Yeah,
The ball went over the lights, you couldn't see it.
No. They use it for soccer now. It's
Yeah.
still there.
yeah.
All right, Chip, what do you got?
Okay, let's talk about high school football first. We're getting into the state semifinals this week. Going back in 6A, Central Catholic, they beat State College pretty good, 41-19. They look like they're pretty good. They're gonna play Harrisburg this week out of District 3. In 5A, Pine Richland beat Peters Township 20-9. They're gonna play Bishop McDevitt. And in 4A, Chirpac won another WPIL title. I think that's 10.
10.
That's 10 for him.
Most of any coach.
Puts him in the elite category
Yep.
for coaching. They beat Clearfield 35-0. That offense and defensive line is pretty good. I watched a little bit of the end of that game.
And do they run the ball?
Well, I think last week I saw that. Did that running back the two previous games have near 50 carries?
He had,
right?
I think, 46 and 43
Back-to-back games.
back to back. And then in the quarterfinal game against Clearfield, I think like 37 or 38 carries
yes.
he had.
Yeah, they just were running people and right at them. And
And
couldn't stop them.
And Coach Chirpak, his quotes in the paper is, this guy wants the football. He doesn't want to take a break. He doesn't want to come off the field. He just says, give me the ball.
Yeah, because I think someone, he was being interviewed, and he
Mm-hmm.
said, because they said, why didn't you take him out? He said, I can't take him out. He won't come out
He
of the
won't
game.
come out of the game.
He won't come out of the game.
My kind of guy.
He won't come out of the game. Yeah, he does give some one-liners.
Chirp's real, he's real humble.
Very.
Very.
I've been in this company
Very.
a few times, and I actually dropped him a line, email, told him, congratulations, you're an elite.
Quality guy.
You said elite group, you're an
Yes.
elite group, and he said, thank you, Sam.
Yeah, I think we ran into him down North Allegheny. We were talking to him one time.
Yep.
He said, he looked at our bench and he went, I'd love to have the skill guys you got here. He said, I don't got that, but I do got those big linemen.
Yep.
We all started laughing. In 3A, Avonworth defeated Central Valley 17-0. They're gonna play Penn Cambria. I know Ziggy was a little upset about that. Yeah. I know he was on the Central Valley bandwagon, but they went down.
Did you sleep that night?
I was depressed. I really was.
And Avonworth, John, weren't they 5? They were 5?
No.
Coming in,
no.
Going into the WPIL though, weren't they?
Oh,
five?
you know what?
Right?
They may have been.
I think they were 5.
Yeah, they may have been.
Yeah, so they sort of snuck up on people
Right.
this year. And then in 2A, South Park, who beat Elwood, defeated Seton LaSalle. They won the 2A, and they're going to play Central Clarion. And I think you know something about Central Clarion or something.
No, I don't know a whole lot about Central. I know they run the ball quite
They run
well.
the ball. Yeah.
But South Park, I saw a few times this year. Boy, do they grind it out. They have a couple of offensive linemen, are about 6'3", 300 pounds. I believe they're twin brothers, or they may be, a senior and a junior, whatever.
That's big.
But boy, do they run the football, and they run it so well.
I think isn't South Park's one of those teams that's consistently good. You know.
Yeah.
Central Clarion played Farrell and handled Farrell easily because their offensive and defensive line negated any speed Farrell had because they just manhandled us up front. But they got a quarterback, Central Clarion. It's about 6'3",
You were telling me.
210. He's a phenomenal athlete. Free safety. He could throw the ball. They got a couple receivers, but they run. But
Is
they
he a
like to
senior?
run the ball.
Yeah,
Huh?
they like to run.
Senior?
Yeah.
Quarterback.
That should be
They're
a good
good.
game. A lot of these games,
They're
are
good.
games. For semifinal games, a lot of good matchups.
Oh, yeah.
And in 1A, Fort Cherry beat Clairton. Was a good game.
I watched that game.
And going in last week, we talked about Clairton, great defense. Didn't give up a whole lot of scores this year. 13, maybe
13 points
13
all year.
And Fort Cherry, I think they scored late, right? They scored late
Well,
in that game.
Tony,
What about 4 minutes ago?
they ran in trouble. Clareton ran in trouble. They didn't have a kicker.
They don't have a kicker. They had to go
Right.
for 2 every game,
ran
every
into
time.
That's a problem.
Yep.
Especially when you get in a game
And
like that.
for years though, that was Alquippa too. Alquippa never had a kicker.
Us, to Farrell,
You
Farrell,
guys-
we go without
You guys
kicker.
didn't have kickers, no.
I-
But you know what? It just goes
Stop.
to show you that no matter how sophisticated the offenses get, you still got to run the football. You gotta do it, and you gotta do it well, and if you're
At any level.
at any level. If you're gonna win, you gotta run the ball.
And you know, they're playing a team from District 9, Port Allegheny, and
Right.
I had watched them play Wilmington.
Right.
And both teams ran the ball consistently well. But both teams can put that ball right down your throat. But, you know, Wilmington, I had put here that they had lost to Port Allegheny 38-20. It was late in the game. They kept trying to run the ball, but geez, they just ran out of time when you're down 18 points in the fourth quarter. So some good games this week, and then basketball, as we speak, tipping off
Knocking
this
on the
weekend.
door.
You're right here. The Newcastle girls will play Riverside at noon on Saturday. They're actually going to play 2 games. They're going to play Riverside at noon, and then they're going to play Shenango at 4. Partly because they only have 3 teams, so it's going to be a 3-way game like that. And then the Newcastle varsity boys will play Nazareth Prep on Saturday at 7 o'clock. And it looks like the boys are going to have a good year this year. They look pretty good so far.
I hear Nazareth's pretty decent, so
Yeah.
Newcastle may get a test.
They may get a test. I saw the schedule. They have Lincoln Park on their schedule late this year, but I don't think
Lincoln
this
is.
year, right?
I saw Mike. I ran into Mike Brisky last Thursday.
Was he crying?
No, he wasn't crying, but he said I got 9 freshmen.
Oh, young.
He said we're going to take our lumps this year. He said, but they're good players, and they're gonna learn. They're gonna
Take some
grow.
time.
That'll be the first time in a long
Yeah,
time.
and plus they moved up to 5A this
They're
year
in 5A.
on that PIA
Who's this?
competitive balance
Lincoln Park.
Oh,
Successful.
clause, success, whatever.
No, before we go any
Lincoln Park
further.
got a
with
kid
the-
from,
Go ahead.
was it Farrell last year?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That guard, Johnson kid, he left Kennedy,
And he went to
transferred to
Lincoln.
Farrell, and the father came, the father said, he won't be here long, because he'll be here a year or two, then we're probably gonna go to a private academy. Well, he wasn't even finished the year, transferred him to Lincoln Park. So he wouldn't miss any game, he, make him
Wow.
eligible, because he was an 8th grader.
It won't be eligible for, oh, he was in,
no, before 10th
right,
grade.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I
He
didn't.
can be
I-
playoff eligible,
Right, I
yeah.
didn't catch that, what he is coming up with.
But don't count Lincoln Park out. You know, a lot of
Never
these
did.
coaches, when you talk to them, they're gonna cry the blues, but they know what they have.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. We'll talk a little bit about college as that's winding down.
One,
a
before
week
you
or
go
two.
any
Okay,
further, what do
okay.
you got for us up at North? What do you got?
It's
What
the
do you
first
got?
Thanksgiving in a long time a Mercer County team isn't practicing,
Wow,
Um,
wow.
Hickory took it on the chin. and
But
Hickory-
you told me on the
Hickory's good.
phone the other day, those teams are all young.
They're
Hickory,
loaded. I
Hickory,
mean, they're
Sharon,
gonna lose their quarterback,
and
who's really
Farrell.
good,
Yeah.
but that might be about it. Sharon is loaded. Sharon's got a lot of kids coming back. Farrell is gonna be loaded again next year. They're losing 2 seniors that started,
Wow.
and that's it.
Wow.
They ended the season, Farrell, with 2 freshmen, 3 sophomores and junior on the offensive line. And they have the 2 kids that were hurt, and one was all conference as a sophomore, didn't play after the second game the rest of the year. And this kid that came from Newcastle, Lowe,
Right.
he got hurt in the middle of the season. He never finished the season. So they got these 2 kids, if they're healthy, they got those 2 coming back. They got Pegues is a sophomore quarterback. He had a phenomenal year as a sophomore. They got their best running back. He gained 1,700 yards, Joel John.
Wow.
So they're going to be good.
All three of
And
those
they got a couple freshmen that they're going to plug in that were really good as 8th graders. But that being, Wilmington, I'm not sure what they got coming back. They probably got enough to compete and be
They're always gonna
quality.
be competitive.
Yeah, Schwarzfield's
Yeah.
going to be quality.
Certainly.
The surprise this year was how uncompetitive Grove City was. To me, that was a surprise. I've never known Grove
Just a
City
down year, maybe?
not to be
Yeah,
fighting.
They're
for
always
champ-
competitive.
They always have
always-
tough
it,
kids up there.
It happens,
Yeah.
it happens. But
And Farrell, you bring in an experienced line coming back, and Farrell always has skilled people and always has speed.
always will.
So
But now they got linemen, and now I don't know who
Could be
they're going to
dangerous.
schedule next year, because I sure as hope they don't schedule Cathedral Prep again and all that. But we are who we are.
Tony, what class, Hickory, Sharon, and Farrell, what class are they all 3 in?
We played in Double A.
Farrell.
Hickory's
Now
four.
after the next thing, we may
May drop down.
No, I don't think so, though.
No.
It's a possibility, but I don't think it, because if we drop down, the teams that will play won't bring, we're not gonna get the gate.
And
See
it
what
will
you're
be
saying?
longer travel too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Better
playing
stay for that.
Sharpsville and playing Wilmington and all those bring money. Not to mention Hickory's AAA, Sharon's AAA,
Mercer's double A.
Mercer's AA. It was Mercer, Farrell,
Reynolds.
and in our conference, Mercer, Farrell. I want to say Reynolds, but I think Reynolds was A.
Oh, they're A.
There was one other team in our conference, Sharpsville, Farrell, Mercer. 3 teams were AA. And the rest are up,
And you play the dual class section, right?
Yeah, we played in a
Yeah.
dual class, because we played Sharon, we played Hickory, we played, we played Wilmington.
Wilmington.
Kennedy forfeited, played and throw in Ursuline, throw in Du Bois, and throw in Cathedral Prep.
They're playing a tough, they got a tough schedule.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, if you're gonna get manhandled up front, you're not winning.
Right.
That's right.
You're not winning, and that's what happened against Central.
It always
Catholic.
is one in the trenches, always.
That's why I'll never forget that line that Coach Flora said. If you put that other guy on his rear end more times than he puts you on yours, you win.
He
Absolutely,
used to tell us, beat the guy in front of
That's
you.
right.
You
absolutely.
got it made. All right, let's flip now. They won the state. Farrell did good in basketball. How are they gonna be in basketball?
They're gonna be decent.
Yeah,
So they, what
They're
are
gonna
they,
be
double A in basketball?
No, they're quad A.
Quad A in
They're
basketball?
quad A. So they'll be playing Grove City, Sharon, Hickory,
Yeah.
the gamut. They don't wanna go down to A. It's, they don't wanna play Jamestown. No offense, but it's just,
Not competitive.
and Kennedy's A, I think. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, Kennedy's A again,
Yeah,
the
they are.
boys. I don't know, like I told you, my grandson's gonna be an assistant coach there once he gets in, but, so I'm waiting for the scoop on Kennedy. But, the coach this is his second year coming in. But, Sharon's gonna be good too. Sharon's gonna be good. This Lewis Brown kid that took over the program, I got it going. He's a good, solid kid, and, he's an ex-football player,
Right, right.
How about Hickory?
Hickory,
Chris Mount.
they got the kids. They're always gonna be competitive. I don't know how good they're gonna be in basketball, but I know they'll be competitive.
Does Chris have any kids
Huh?
left? Does Chris have any kids playing up there, do you know? Chris Mount, any of his boys?
I think
Is there
they're
one
I think
graduated.
so.
Oh, they're all
I'm
gone?
not sure.
I think. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I
And
haven't
I don't
talked to
know,
Chris in a
I mean,
while.
West Middlesex was always a force, but I don't know, I haven't paid too much, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to basketball.
Always had a lot of strength on a lower block.
Yeah,
West Middlesex.
yeah.
They always rebounded well and always defended the paint well. And then the Kennedy girls are coming off state title. And they're gonna be
Let me
pretty
tell you
good
something
again.
about the Kennedy girls too. I told you the other night, my granddaughter plays for the 7th and 8th grade team, Kennedy. And they're playing Farrell and they're getting killed. You should see Farrell's 7th and 8th grade girl team. I told the head coach, if you don't win a state championship with this team, I'm leading
Resign.
the charge to get rid of you. But anyhow, 2 of the varsity girls came in after practice to the Farrell gym. And they sat, Lakey Fields was one of them. Because basically she's a Farrell girl. They sat with the 7th and 8th grade girls, which is kind of, that's how you build that.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Camaraderie.
That was nice to see. That was nice to see. It was a good move. Good, they're getting hammered. They lost 49-14
Oh,
and 49-4, 7th grade, and the score wasn't indicative of how bad it was. But it was bad. But Farrell's girls are coming. They got
The
something.
Hickory, the Kennedy girls, there'll be one, I told John, one in the state.
yeah.
And
They should.
they'll be
They should.
We
These
said
girls,
it
favorite
last
to
week, they
win
only
it
lost
again.
one
I
play.
saw them come out to warm up, practice after they play 7th. They're not little. I mean, they're not tall, but they're not little. I mean, these girls are broad. They got
They're put together.
thighs. They're put.
Yeah, they shoot the ball so.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
They do.
And they play great defense. They play great defense.
Yeah. They're gonna be.
Bobby, when we were at Hershey last
Yeah,
year, that's
yeah.
about all we talked about, how
Yeah,
great
they-
they played on defense. I mean,
I might
really.
take a ride with you this year.
That-
It would be the first, huh?
I've been hearing this for about 20 years.
Yeah, how many years have we been hearing that?
Well, I went there,
heard of about
I've
75
been there
years.
5 years in a row, though. I did go to the convention, but I never went to any of the games. So I might. You
Take
might
a
have
ride
to
with the
twist my
boys.
arm a little more. Go ahead,
Be a
Jim.
lot of Cubs and
Lot of
raviolis.
Tony Rittone.
I'll come and kidnap
Thank
you.
you for that information.
Okay, week 13 in the NCAA, we're winding down, John, and I think this will be the last week in November, and December 5th is when they decide,
Starts
right?
the
Right, they're gonna decide the
the
brackets.
bracket.
But last week, I guess the big game was Ohio State and Indiana. Anybody watch that game?
I did.
Yeah,
Some of it-
we watched.
Yeah, I watched it for a little while now.
What did you guys think there? What happened to Indiana? They just didn't play anybody?
No, Ohio State was better.
Yeah.
No
Flat
question.
better.
No
Yeah,
question.
All the way
Yeah.
around.
Couple bad breaks,
And I'll tell
Especially-
you what, Indiana had a couple
Bobby.
good players.
couple
Oh, yeah.
bad breaks right before the end of the first half, and then the
Right.
third quarter, Ohio State just.
It was,
That,
Yeah.
that Ohio State offensive line
That's
is
getting
pretty darn
very
good.
interesting now.
It is, it
Very
is.
interesting.
Frankie and I were talking last night. You gotta watch really, not so much where these teams are ranked, but where they're gonna fall once the conference champions
Right.
are all done, because that could change everything.
Well, your 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be conference champions. We know that. So, you know, who's better, SEC or Big Ten to be number 5? You know, or number 6, whomever.
And does a
It's gonna be
three-loss
interesting.
team get in, maybe?
So you'll know, you got an idea right now, because I seen like
Yes.
a model
I have
bracket.
it here. I have it
You
here.
have
So
it,
the
okay.
first round buys today, just today. Oregon, Texas, Miami, and Boise State would get buys in the first round. Then in the first round where teams are gonna actually play, Ohio State would be at home against Arizona State. Tennessee would be at home against Georgia. Penn State would be home against Indiana as of today. And then Notre Dame would be at home against SMU.
Penn State struggled too. I actually watched that game.
They are, and you know, you see some stuff online about Penn State and their coach, and they keep talking about their schedule, which they said about Indiana too. They really haven't played anybody besides Ohio State.
You're true.
But,
You're right.
you know, you get into the playoff and then it's day one.
and they
You
just
squeaked
lost
out
an
a
offensive
1-point
lineman
win.
again.
Yeah, they
just
did, they lost the
another
lineman, yeah.
You
Another
squeaked-
one.
Don't count out Alabama.
Never. Never.
They're 13th, but don't count them. Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios, there's gonna be a couple upsets for them
There's
to
a
move
ton
on.
of scenarios.
But after the loss to Oklahoma, can they get in? They can't get to the SEC championship game, can they?
I don't know
No,
if they
Georgia
can. or not.
can.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia can.
Yeah,
Not
Georgia
not
can.
Alabama. I don't think they can.
lost.
They have 3, right? Alabama?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah, they
3.
got 3.
I don't see
Three.
how, I don't, maybe, I think it's 18%. I don't know what.
Well, they
they're
were
gonna need to
talking
get in.
upset, so there's ESPN that they were talking, there's a couple upsets ahead of them.
And
They're
then
moving
they
in.
gotta get to the championship game and win,
Yeah.
you'd think. I'll mention Pitt. I don't know where this team is headed, it just headed south, and there's so many people
I don't
talking
know
about
what happened last
Narduzzi
week.
and the
Did
coaching.
you watch the game, Zig? Pitt?
Uh,
What do you think?
I think they beat a bunch of cream puffs at the beginning of the year. And once the section play
Yeah.
opened, they
They lost their
and
quarterback.
then plus they lost
SMU.
their quarterback, but they
SMU.
But still-
they're just getting
Took-
manhandled.
Yeah.
SMU took them to the woodshed, but
They
then the
did.
next week to lose to Virginia, which is, you know,
Unexcusable.
unexcusable, and then go back and get hammered by, John, I didn't
Yeah.
watch the game. Me and
Crushed.
my wife were driving to
I shut
Pittsburgh.
it off.
I got into the place to where we were gonna watch the game, I looked up and it was 30-0 already. Come on now,
Crushed.
And I mean,
not beat. Crushed.
Yeah.
they're gonna chase Narduzzi out of there sooner or later, but I don't know. Holstein looks like a totally different quarterback, I don't know. It was
Listen.
looking so good there for a
That
while.
kid's 6'4" though, to backup quarterback.
You gotta-
And he ain't.
Yarnell.
You got a guy sitting over here who's coached football for 40 years. It's not the coaching.
Not coaching.
It's not the coaching.
That's the first guy they're gonna call.
That, of course.
Yeah, right.
It's the easiest
Alumni-
guy to
alumni
blame.
are gonna call it
It's the
coach.
easiest guy to blame. You've got to recruit the power athlete.
Thank
you have to.
Thank you, John.
Well,
Harris. Thank you.
That was mine.
And he doesn't recruit.
He doesn't.
He's not a good recruiter.
He loses WPIL kids. Now, not that the WPIL kids are what they were 25, 30 years ago as far as big-time Division I talent. but there's still a lot of quality football players here.
There is. And would you say their main competition for recruits is Penn State?
Well, certainly,
Right?
Penn State, and now West Virginia.
And West Virginia. And when West Virginia and Penn State announce a recruit, it's a 4-star recruit, a 5-star, and Pitt are getting the 3-star guys.
The kid from Bell Vernon should have never gone. He should have been wrapped up when
Right
he was
here, with Pitt.
when he was a sophomore.
Exactly.
He should have been wrapped up.
The running back from El Equipa too.
Yeah.
Another one,
In the
Tyke
old
Hicks.
days, they never
Yeah.
would have let him
No.
leave.
And not because he's my nephew, but he let Geno Stone
Right.
go.
He let Geno.
too.
My
Yeah.
opinion, they'll never get the top athletes at that facility.
Big.
Not gonna
I
get,
agree.
not gonna, I don't
Big.
care who you
No
share
shade.
that locker
No
room
sh-
with.
right.
It's Pittsburgh Steelers, that doesn't mean one thing to these kids.
Big point.
They wanna see their lockers with lights and a little TV and this and that and their own stadium.
agree.
They're
And they
not,
wanna-
they can't compete with that facility.
And they
can't.
want to
You
see
agree, Bob? You
a
agree with
full
that?
capacity
Frank?
stadium
Absolutely.
that you're not going to
Yeah.
get at Acrisure
Your own
unless,
stadium.
unless
They
Penn
get on
State
a
or West
bus
Virginia's in
after
town.
school
That's
to
the
get
only time.
bused to the football field.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Instead of walking there.
Exactly. It's a terrible place
It
for
is.
they never thought of that. I don't think they thought all this out. You know.
Very bad decision
And
to
it-
play there.
I mean, I'm a Pitt fan. I ain't gonna say I'm not.
I
a
want
Pitt
to see
fan.
him win too. Sure.
But and again, he doesn't recruit. His recruiting is horrible.
Yeah.
It's not a good atmosphere down there. I don't know. That's just our.
Now
opinion.
he's going to get the lineman from Central Valley. Who's
Yeah,
a
that kid's good.
legitimate four-star
That kid's
guy.
good. Yeah. I
And
agree.
he's going to get the lineman from TJ, who is a legitimate big-time player.
Right.
But you need skilled people too.
Yeah. And you need 5 more of those guys.
Right. For sure. Right. Exactly.
And he has the
Maybe
benefit
5
of
more of
playing in
them.
the ACC and not in the Big Ten, too, so that's the other thing.
Sure.
But
Who's
we'll
it-
see what happens.
Who did I see on quarterback with game I was watching his sixth year? One of the quarterbacks is in his sixth
Oh,
year.
well,
Bo
Sixth or
Nix
seventh.
wasn't Bo Nix at
He
Auburn?
was a
Yeah.
six-year guy.
The kid's
Yeah.
24 years old. He's still in
He
college
was
playing
in
college.
college for 7 years.
Geno's
because of the COVID.
25. Geno Stone's 25. He's been in the NFL 5 years. This
Because
kid's
of
sixth
these
year.
these COVID
Because of the COVID rules.
Yeah.
carryovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
They could have done
Yeah.
that.
And a red shirt and a whatever.
Geno's 25.
Yeah.
The kid playing for this 6th year. I can't. One of the games I was watching, he's a 6 years player for the team. He was,
26.
And Geno's 25. He's only 25. This kid's 24 already, and he's still in college.
Still in
Right.
college.
So he's playing like a pro, and he's in college.
And Gino's on his second NFL contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we all done with college? Anybody else gonna say anything about college?
Here we
We'll
go.
go to the NFL. Week 13 already.
Slippery Rock won again Saturday.
Oh, yes, I did want to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Westminster
game.
played in a bowl game in
They won
Canton.
that game, yeah.
They won their game.
Who does Slippery Rock play? Do you know?
They played. Oh wait,
Who are they gonna play?
Ronnie-
They played Kutztown.
Kutztown. Yeah.
And
I
I
don't
guess
know
they're
who they played
undefeated,
now.
right?
Yeah.
Kutztown's undefeated.
Or they
So
play
we'll plug in
Kutztown
for Farrell
now.
kid,
Coming
this-
up.
Kai Griffin's pretty good.
Yeah.
The return guy and wide receiver now.
For
They're
Slippery
getting
Rock.
him involved more and more.
Yeah.
Wow.
Matter of fact, they put him at Wildcat and he scored a touchdown against Cookstown.
Wow.
Real good.
That's great.
And you got the kid from at Westminster, Bryce Butler, who's their safety. He's from
Right.
Farrell.
Yeah,
They got
Farrell
a-
guy, yes.
Good stuff.
And of course, the defensive coordinator at Slippery Rock is Dominic
Don
Rosano.
Rosano, I talked to his father the
From
other
a-
night
from
and
a
asked
very,
asked him how he was doing, and he
yep.
said he just loves it there.
Oh, yeah.
Loves it there.
From a very, very tradition-rich football family.
Okay, week 13, NFL, here we go. Let's talk about week 12. First, well, we mentioned this before, MVP candidates right now. Who you guys got?
Joe Burrow,
Josh Allen.
Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen,
Barkley's good.
Joe Mixon.
And Lamar Jackson, right?
Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
sort
got
of still
he's
there.
got to be in the mix.
But John,
But he's
Henry.
not having the year.
No Henry, no.
he has those moments.
Derrick Henry. My goodness.
And you keep hearing that, because if you look at the odds, these people out west in Vegas, they put out odds
Oh,
for
yeah.
things. And Caesar's Palace they raised Saquon Barkley up, but he's still like fourth,
Huh.
behind 4 quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks are always going to
It
get the
is.
glory.
We had talked about earlier that
Yeah.
a kicker won MVP, and that's never gonna happen again.
No.
Ronnie, look up Joe Burrow's stats if you can.
I think
Right
he has
now,
near 30
right now,
touchdowns almost.
what,
His
Jackson
last
is
4
number
weeks.
1 in every statistic, and he's tied for first on one of them.
Really?
Quarterback. He's number 1.
Yeah, yeah.
Touchdown passes,
That's
touchdowns.
Because of what Lamar Jackson.
Silent.
He's just,
It is,
Silent
it's
yards.
quiet.
That's good information.
right now,
Yeah.
as
I
of
did
today.
not
That's why I
realize
asked you here, because he got all the information.
See
See
that?
that?
I got all the
Mina
information.
Minolta.
And I guess the next few weeks.
And I don't like them,
The next few
but
weeks,
the Steelers will defend them.
they're gonna play all that out, and you got some time yet, and we haven't even talked about Pat Mahomes. Kansas City, I think their point differential is 53 on the whole year, which isn't a whole lot right now. But they just keep winning.
Can
Oh,
that
they find a way.
They find a way.
find a
Bobby?
way? Now, could that running back, is hurt? Could that be hurting them?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
know they
hurting
have-
them.
Pacheco?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure, because when you diminish your running game, it diminishes your entire offense.
Pacheco is supposed to be coming back.
Next
No.
week.
Supposed to be
I haven't
coming
Yeah.
seen him sacked as many times in all the years he's played.
No, you're right.
I think the character, what you kept seeing last year was by this time last year through the playoffs, Kansas City's defense got really good. And these last 3 weeks, they sort of.
Yeah, they've been shaky.
Been missing
They've been shaky.
assignments, guys not in right places.
And they lost their kicker.
They lost their kicker.
Yeah.
So, but.
That plays a big part in the NFL.
They keep saying fourth quarter, Pat Mahomes, you don't want to give him the ball, and what he
No,
did, he
true.
took that ball, and he made a 30-yard run to get him in the field goal range and won the game.
Speaking of kickers, have you ever seen somebody missed field goal
Oh, wow.
and extra points this year?
I know,
You
it's
get
terrible.
paid-
It
you
is.
get paid to do one thing. You don't even gotta get hit.
Right.
You get paid to do one thing.
When you watch that TV, when you watch the TV on television, and you see, they put the camera behind the guy, and you see the goalpost, it looks like it's as
Yeah.
narrow as that door there.
Yeah.
And they're saying, that guy's gotta put that ball through that goal post.
Yeah.
It's only, it's
We
only
don't know
18
what
yards.
they do, like, to make that field goal, you know? No, seriously, it looks like it's that narrow.
Yep, yep, it is.
And what's his name?
That level.
Tucker. He's
Tucker.
missed a
Missed 2 against the Steelers.
Yes.
He's
He
But boy-
disappointed me. And I'm not a Tucker fan, don't get me wrong, but I'm a fan of his ability,
Oh,
you know. But when you blame it on the turf,
yeah,
and the
that's,
other guy on the other team just kicked 6, and he's kicking on the same grass I think that you are,
Well,
You own it.
I don't wanna
listen,
hear
how
that.
about the
You gotta
Steeler
own
fans?
it.
just say I missed, you
How
know,
about
hey,
some of the
I missed.
Steeler fans' excuses? It was snowing,
Oh,
it
Oh,
was wet.
yeah, right, you're
Well,
right.
they
No, I
played, and the
agree.
other team played in the same thing.
Well, their
Absolutely.
wide receiver was complaining about
Yeah.
it. That's why they lost.
how about him? How about,
Listen.
who's the defensive back
That's all crap.
for Cleveland? Newsom?
Which one?
The,
Ward?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Is that his name?
Ward, yeah.
He said,
Del Pitt, they got all kinds.
he said George Pickens is a fake tough guy.
Oh, yeah.
What a line! What a line! That was beautiful.
Fake tough.
He's a fake tough guy.
Here's our producer, Ronnie Mouse, just forwarded this out to me. Joe Burrow has 3,000 yards passing, which is third in the league. 27 touchdowns, that's 1. 4 picks,
Wow.
okay, and then QBR 75. So definitely MVP candidate.
And Herbert's only 1 interception all year.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
In
huh?
the NFL with them tight windows.
Wow.
And 4 is not too bad either.
No, 4's really good. 4's really good.
You know, the missed kicks, that'll lead us right into what we were gonna talk about that 40-minute windows Sunday at the 4:30 games, right? So you had Dallas and Washington, Houston Titans, KC and Carolina, the Bears and Minnesota were all going down to the last minute, and then
Right.
somebody lined up for a extra point and missed
Missed.
it.
Washington.
To go into overtime.
Almost cost me a fantasy game,
But,
in which I'm in first
Well, let's
place.
go back before the missed kick. Let's go back to the Dallas scores, right? There's 33 seconds to go, and they're on their own 20, and McLaurin goes 75 yards
Right.
for a touchdown. He
In a
didn't touch him,
prevent, in a
John.
prevent defense.
They didn't touch him.
They rushed 2 guys.
They rushed 2 guys. And he gets down there scoring, and he missed the extra point. So that was one. Tony, was you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. That was that game. And then Houston and the Titans,
Oh,
another
my.
missed kick. And, you know,
Fairbairn missed a 19-yard field goal.
another good kicker.
I would have made that.
I mean,
You know what? I think I could have made it, honestly. A 19-yard. This kid kicks him from 65 with regularity.
he's a good kicker.
One, thank you.
Good kicker.
The human element.
It does. It is.
Washington.
Sometimes it's psychological.
Seibert missed 2 extra points and a field goal in that.
Yeah.
Or that one even came into play,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that.
We talking
because-
about Dallas?
Yeah,
Dallas, and you know, the dumpster fire that they are, but they beat Washington, and that's just what happens in the NFL. Their parity's so good. It's
It-
so good.
Pete Rozell's dream.
Yeah, it is.
He wanted parity.
But-
He
and-
got
and
parity.
I
Now
think
he's long dead and he has parity. He's had it
the
for
Dallas
30
fans,
years.
they got a glimmer of hope right now. A glimmer. It's only a glimmer, but it's out there. So, and we talked about Kansas City. Mahomes just makes a play late.
That's it.
And then there's the Bears in Minnesota. So they lost that game on the last play of the game against Washington. They missed the Green Bay blocks a kick, and then
Yep.
the Bears in Minnesota, so what happened? They get down close. They are going in for a score. There's a penalty. They decline it. They try to score a touchdown, and they get stopped on fourth down. Is that what happened, right? It's all happening within this 40-minute window. So was you watching all that?
Yeah.
If you're bouncing around from game
It was
to
on the
game.
red zone.
Yeah.
They were going back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the
the red
next
zone.
day, they were talking on ESPN about what happened in that 40-minute window. Okay, and
You have
we're
that-
going to talk about that question.
You have
for
that question
John.
as you
Go
want?
ahead.
Yes. Our first question, if you guys might have some too, but, okay, because I think this happened in Philadelphia, John, and I've seen this happen a couple times this year, and you'll probably know.
The decline penalty.
How'd you know?
Gee, I wonder how.
Really? I thought I brought up something new. Yeah, okay, so what happened was, it was an offensive penalty,
Right.
right? Sirianni declined it, because he's assuming that they're gonna kick it, right? He's assuming that, right?
Right.
So he accepts the penalty, then they go, hold on, we're gonna go for it. Nope, I'm gonna accept it. So what's the whole ruling behind that?
Okay. Now, were you watching the game?
Yeah,
Did
not
you,
the whole game,
Did
but
you
I
see,
saw that.
Did you see Sirianni say decline?
Yes,
See,
I
didn't.
thought I did.
I didn't.
I did.
You did?
He went like
Okay.
this.
I thought I
Alright.
saw him go like that.
Well,
but-
either way, when there is a penalty involved, now this is NFL only, I believe, because I know the high school game for sure, once the coach says, I decline the penalty, or I accept the penalty, it's irrevocable. You cannot switch it now, no matter what
Okay,
happens.
that's high
What
school.
was that word?
Okay? Irrevocable.
Liverpool. That's an east side term.
Write that down.
Where'd you get them adjectives?
Hey, every time I think I weaken the nation, I mean, you know. But anyhow.
High school, you
That's-
say
that's
it,
high
you're
school.
done. Okay.
That's high school.
Pros.
NFL, I believe, if there is a penalty involved, if the offended team decides to either accept or decline, there is an option for the coach to then reverse his decision, whether to, take the yardage or take it down. But once the referee blows the ready for play signal,
Okay.
You can't.
then it becomes irrevocable.
Okay.
Okay? There's that word again. In that particular game, after Sirianni declined the penalty, Land Clark blew the ready for play. And then they came back and reversed the
I thought it was
decision.
late. It was
very
late,
late.
right?
was
Okay.
very
I'm just sitting there and says, how can he do
So,
that?
I believe that's what happened. I don't know for sure,
I think that's what happened.
but
Exactly.
I know my brother is going to be with Gene Steratore on Tuesday, I believe, and he's going to ask him the question.
Okay.
But that, I believe, is what happened in that
Okay.
game. And I saw the ready for play by Land Clark, who was the referee on that game, and then they stopped the clock and reversed it, which you cannot do.
Okay. And I thought I've seen that a couple times this year, to tell you the truth. I thought I've seen it more than once. It's not like an oddity. I thought,
Yeah.
I've seen guys, because these guys are cowboys, Tony. They're on their own 16-yard line going for it on fourth down.
That's crazy.
They'll do it. They
I
don't
never
care.
seen it. I never seen it.
Right? Didn't somebody
It's
do that
ridiculous.
this week on their own 16?
Baltimore,
Right?
Monday night.
They're on their own 16-yard line.
Right before the half.
So it happens. So these guys come out and go, you want to accept the penalty? So you're going to decline it? I'm going to go for it now.
Yeah.
How about college? Do you know if there's a difference in
I'm not
college?
sure. I'm not sure if
Okay.
that replicates the high school rule or the
Okay.
NFL rule.
All right, so I thought I had something out of the ordinary there. But
There's another,
everybody's talking
another word for it, replicates.
about replicates.
How about that one?
You know,
Replicates.
Make a note of that.
talking about all these teams, all these guys, Jackson, all these players and this and that. What's the Lions record?
9-1, 10-1.
10-1?
10-1, I
10 to
think.
1.
You haven't mentioned any of their players.
And they got some good ones.
They got some good, but you haven't mentioned them. We haven't talked about them.
No.
They're not
They're
golf.
They're spread out.
Right.
Because they
Golf's
got,
having a
Because
great year.
they don't have superstars.
Right.
They got a team though.
But
They
he's
got a
throwing.
guy that's leading them that they believe in,
Yeah,
Right.
and they'll kill themselves for him.
and that's huge too.
Yes.
That's huge too.
and what their
I-
head coach,
They scare me.
And this
I
same,
like-
not in
I
a
like
good
the
way.
Lions.
They scare me.
I said that the one in golf had 5 interceptions and they still blew the
and they
field.
came back and won a game.
It's all right. You had a bad game. Let's
But
go.
they
We're
still
going to
won.
practice.
This St. Brown kid
I like
misses.
that. I was
He
thinking
misses
that.
nothing.
Yeah,
If
he's
that
good.
ball's in the zip code, he's catching it.
He's good.
and what they do,
Laporte
John,
is good, too.
when his contract came up, did they try to lowball
No.
him? They gave him his money.
What do you want?
What do you want?
Sign the
Hawkinson plays
paper.
for that,
Let's
too.
go.
TJ
Laporte.
Hawkins. What did they say? Here, you want that money? Here. They kept their guys in place.
Hawkinson's
No,
Iowa.
Hawkinson's in Minnesota.
He went to Iowa, right?
Yeah, he was in Iowa.
Hawkinson went to Minnesota. He played
Yeah, he's in Minnesota.
Minnesota, right.
The tight end.
Right.
But how about the running backs?
They got two great running backs. They
This
do.
this Swift kid, his vision and cutback
got-
abilities.
But
are
you're
incredible.
right. You're right. They're no name, big name players. You don't
And-
talk right. You don't
This
talk.
Gibbs
They
kid,
got players,
this Gibbs
they got-
kid can run.
Incredible. And Montgomery, don't get in his way because you're going down. This kid will take you. He'll run right over you.
Two top running backs.
Oh
Same-
man.
Yeah.
Straight arms guys like this.
Oh yeah.
I watched the Colts, some of the Colts game.
And they lost Aiden Hutchinson.
Joe, I was
3
just going
weeks
to say that, John. They're doing this without probably their best player on defense.
Exactly.
But
Maybe on
they
the
went
team.
out- They went out and signed a couple guys that are going to be able to fill. Now, whether he comes
They
back
get the kid
or
from
not.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
What's his injury?
A lot
You
of
know
teams
his
are looking
injury?
at.
What's his
I think he's probably not going to come back.
Knee. It's a knee.
I don't know. If
No, he's not going back.
Who's this?
Hutchinson,
Aiden Hutchinson, their best
Oh,
defensive
the Michigan
player.
kid, defensive end.
He's their
that went-
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, he's an
And the
interesting
coach says after
follow.
games, we were built for this. That's what he keeps saying.
Yep.
We were built for this.
Okay, I got a question to go around the room. NFL right now, week 13. Who do you like in the NFC, Tony? Right now,
Lions.
okay,
Yeah.
AFC.
AFC.
Right now, if the Super Bowl was decided, what two teams?
I'm gonna pull out of my butt. Steelers.
Buffalo and
NFC,
let's see, Philadelphia.
Philly. Chip.
Lions, Ravens. I'm thinking that the Ravens are going to get better on defense and they'll win.
Well, I like the Lions. I've always did it, but I'm going with the Bills.
Like the Bills.
Bobby. I like the Bills. I think it's just one little ingredient for them. They blow it at the end of the year when they get in the
I do.
playoffs.
They got the quarterback that can get them there.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the beginning of the year after they lost. All those guys that they couldn't re-sign to some of the guys on defense that they sort of filled in, but they have the team that can win.
Yeah,
They have the
right,
players
right,
that they're getting
right.
better with. But that keeps in the back of my mind. But until somebody beats Kansas
Who you
City,
like,
we'll see
John?
what happens.
I'm going to go Carolina and Cleveland.
You never know. You never know.
He's a CC guy.
No, I'm going to agree with Bobby. I'm going to say Buffalo, and you have to like Detroit the way they're playing right now. They're just
So we got three of us.
they're
I
putting
said
it all
Philly.
together.
I said
Oh, you
Philly.
took Philly.
Yeah, you
Okay.
said Phil.
He's riding Barkley, man.
Man, don't count them out. And of course you can't count.
Well, we're only talking about week 13 now.
Right.
Next week, we're gonna ask the same question and see what everybody likes.
Yeah.
Frank?
I like Detroit, and then Buffalo, as much as I don't want to say Buffalo,
You're
but,
saying Buffalo.
yeah.
Dan?
I like the Steelers and Buffalo.
You can't pick Buffalo, they're both in the AFC.
Same
NFC. NFC.
NFC, you need an NFC team.
Lions,
Lions,
Minnesota,
Lion.
Philly.
Lion.
Ziggy.
Now you gotta go with Lions.
The Lions,
now.
especially if the Lions get home field advantage.
That's going to be big too.
I can't. Josh Allen has not risen to the occasion yet.
Yeah.
He's like-
Consistently,
You're
he'll have
right.
games,
You're
but
right.
he hasn't risen to that level yet.
He's like-
Mahomes
You're
and,
right.
and those guys yet to sell me that.
There's
Now, if when he does, that, hey,
There's always
Katie
the
bar the door.
possibility of a tank with this
People
ball.
say that
You're
about-
right.
people
What
say
happened
that
to, yeah,
about
you're
Mark
right.
Jackson, too.
He
Yeah,
was
you
judge.
You can.
Judge and, you know, didn't rise it up, man.
Okay, just think about this. We just went around. There's a team undefeated. Nobody said Kansas City, right? Nobody said Kansas.
It's in the back of my
Does everybody
mind.
think that sooner or later,
Well, we just said,
somebody's
we
gonna
didn't say
catch
who,
them?
That
I did
defense is
say,
gonna break down.
Sooner or later.
I did say who we thought would go to the Super Bowl, but it can change next week now, too.
Sure. This team is
I'm
undefeated.
gonna tell you what, the Kansas City Steelers game is gonna be a big, huge game for both of those teams.
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen, the landscape of the future of the playoffs. Because if KC comes in there undefeated and the Steelers, let's say, which I don't know how they, if God willing, if they let it happen, go in and haven't lost, and it's where at?
It's in Pittsburgh.
Warren Salem.
Well,
That's gonna be something.
KC's got a loss now.
Christmas Day.
Buffalo beat,
Huh?
Buffalo
Kansas
beat
City
Kansas
lost.
City 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they do, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
they lost.
but there's still, we haven't mentioned, nobody mentioned.
Right,
it.
exactly.
one loss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
But
it.
that's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be the game.
they're 10-1.
He's a tough
This is a
runner,
two-time
runs
defending
low.
champion, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's just been watching the way they play and saying sooner or later somebody's gonna get them and it's gonna be in a playoff game. Somebody's gonna catch them. But John, it could be at home.
Oh,
They
it
could be at home again.
Sure. They
But
definitely
you
could.
can always go back to where they show you, they get away with a lot of stuff. They get away with a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying, I'm not a believer in the bookies in Las Vegas and all that. I just think that star quality of that team and Andy Reid, there's a soft spot in the referees' hearts for the Kansas City
Wait a
Chiefs.
second.
If they have a
Wait a
game-winning
second.
drive at home, they're gonna win.
Score.
Yeah.
John, is that
And-
true?
Every time.
John,
Cause
is
you
that
could
true?
see, they get away with some
He's pleading
offside,
fifth.
they get away with some
Stick
this,
it up
some
for the
that.
guys.
But they are who they are, and
They're-
they're
yeah.
the defending champs.
The Reed factor, I believe in, because he's a good coach. The offense is diverse enough, but that offensive line is so shaky at times. They've got keep filling guys in.
And the way Andy Reid drafts, you know, take Travis Kelce, for example. Fabulous tight end for the last, 11 or 12 years, right? Now he's kind of on the downside. The injury take a little longer to heal now. Maybe a step and a half slower than he was. And he brings this Noah Gray out. And man, is this kid good. He's just in Kelsey's shadow. But look at the game that kid had last week. Not only catching 2 touchdown passes, but his blocking is incredible. Really, really, really good tight end.
And Mahomes looks for him,
Certainly
because
does.
there's nobody else.
Mahomes is a tight end guy.
Right.
He's always been a tight end guy.
So we shall see.
Okay, we're gonna go to, here's the picks from last week. Randy had the Vikes, he lost against the Bears. Chip
Oh,
had the
they won.
Bucks, he won.
They won the game.
Oh,
with the line, with the line.
With the line.
Got
Just
it.
Frank,
had to fight
Frank
for
was a
Fighting
winner,
Browns
he had
won.
the Seahawks, they were given 1.5. Zig, you had the Commanders. Dallas shit, they
Tough
beat 'em.
loss.
Commanders shit the bed.
What they do?
Shit the bed. Oh, pooped the bed. Preston had the Eagles, he won. I had the Lions, that's my first win. Bobby had the Broncos, he had a winner. Yummy had 2 picks. He won with the Packers and lost with the Chiefs. And who was our guest last week? Oh, who was here?
Did Ronnie pick
Ronnie, did you
Right.
pick? No, who was it?
No, Jimmy Schaefer.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Schaefer had,
Schaefer.
he had the Chargers and he lost. So right
He had the
now,
Chargers, imagine that.
yeah.
The only Chargers fan in Newcastle.
Randy's 3-4, Chip's 4-3, Frank's 4-3. Ziggy, you're 5-2. I'm 1-6. Preston's 6-1. Bobby's 5-2. Who's this? Yummy, 4-2. I missed a game on him. We're gonna have to figure that one out. And our guests so far 5-2. And again, the winner gets a dozen of pudgy buns donated from Dennis Joseph at the bakery. This week, okay.
And an autographed picture of Dennis.
Yeah. That's Ziggy's, that's his job to do that. All right, week 13, Randy, I'll have to get Text Randy, see who he likes, Raiders or the Chiefs, and make sure you tell him it's on Friday night. So then Chip, Packers, Dolphins.
Packers, all day.
Frank, Chargers, Falcons.
Chargers.
Ziggy, Seahawks, Jets.
What's the line?
You know what? I didn't put the line on this one this week. I didn't, I'm not using a line.
We can, oh, we're not, or these all straight
These
up?
are straight
These are
up.
straight
Oh,
up.
okay.
This is straight up. I did it I think we did it 1 week. We're
Yeah, I
gonna
think we
it this
did do
week.
it without.
Ziggy, Seahawks, Jets.
Where are they playing?
At New York.
Jets,
I'll just take the Jets, just a guess.
28 degrees. Preston, Cards, I have to ask him. Vikes, I'm taking the Jags at the Jaguars. Bobby, Titans, Commanders.
Oh, God.
Wow.
At Washington.
Commanders.
All right, I have to ask the youngster if he likes the Cowboys or the Giants. That's on Thanksgiving Day. Chip, your Thanksgiving Day too. Steelers and Bengals.
Who gets that one?
These
Second.
two.
Steelers.
I'm going the other way.
Then,
Take the Steelers too?
yeah, you could take the Steelers. You got two in the Steelers.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
You're
Certainly.
going Cincinnati. John, yours? Cincy. All right, it's gonna be interesting. See what happens.
Was Gino on the bye last week?
Gino was on a bye.
What'd he do during bye?
I'm
Did he
still
go anywhere? Did he do
surprised.
anything?
I'm
He was
still
out for a
surprised
week.
Cincinnati's
here?
spotting
Was out
them.
for 6 days.
Oh, okay.
Damn, I'm surprised Cincy's spotting
6
them.
days.
I'm not.
He had to be back by
They're a
Sunday.
better team
Gino's home now, Sam?
No, he went back Sunday.
He said he was home a week.
He was home a week.
in their home.
You go on Sunday, Sam?
No. I'll be on the recliner.
Oh, you wanna go to that Miami game?
You say you be
20
on a
degrees
decline.
Green Bay.
What'd you say? Did you say you're gonna be on a decline?
Oh, yeah, the decline, the decliner.
Or the incline.
Welcome to my world.
It
too,
was,
buddy.
man. I'll be
What's
honest with you. If that was the way that you want to watch a football game, when Connie and I went, that's the way you want to do it. You go walk about, I don't know.
Yeah,
just
you
walk
got
up
maids
a
and
few
butlers
steps,
serving you.
and you
Yeah,
go up an
nice.
elevator, you get to the third floor, you get out, you go watch a game. And you can eat and drink whatever you want.
That was when Jackie was with the Mariners.
Yep.
Wherever
Yep.
we went to Kansas City, Detroit,
Yep.
New York, wherever we went, we were up in his box.
Speaking,
Fabulous.
what is he doing now? What does he?
He's done. He's retired.
Yeah,
Just
he's
retired.
Totally retired.
On a
He's
beach
loving
somewhere?
life. No, he's in
Sounds good.
Treesdale, Pine Township.
God bless him.
Yeah, on the back of I think hole 13 on one of the golf courses is in his backyard.
Okay.
And you're gonna have him come up, right?
Yeah, we're gonna catch him right after
Need
the
an
holidays.
eight.
Randy likes the Raiders?
Chargers.
Chargers. No, he either has a chief for the Raiders. Chiefs or Raiders? He's gonna say Chiefs. It's at Kansas City. Okay, guys, we got through that segment, and, Zig? Penguins. Penguins. In a nutshell.
They lost 2 games last week, gave up 10 goals.
Crosby did get his 600th goal. Okay.
They're playing an elite team tonight, so it'd be interesting to see how they hold up physically against Vancouver. They picked up a centerman last week, Philippe Tomasino, I think that's how you,
Tomasino.
Tomasino.
Oh,
I
they
think
picked up
he worked-
Italian guy.
I
Yeah,
think he worked
imagine
for
that.
Genco Olive Oil.
Yeah, Don Tomasino from The Godfather.
So, but I think it was a good pickup for them because they're gonna need centermen after Crosby and Malkin are done. And this kid was a #1 draft pick 3 years ago.
Let me
When
ask,
he came in with Nashville.
ask you a question. You think Malkin's gonna end the year with the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I hope,
Well, we said
We
this.
hope,
I
but I'll
really
tell you
do.
what,
but
I got a funny feeling he's not. And I think a couple other guys aren't either.
I
I think
feel
they're gonna
the
turn
same
it
way.
upside down.
I'm just
They're
holding
gonna
on.
fire
that they-
sale it.
Everybody but Crosby.
They're gonna turn it upside down.
They'll never get rid of Crosby. No.
Well, a lot of those guys still have their contracts where you can't.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
know
against
that.
them
I understand
and General manager too.
that. Or the upside down, maybe they may get rid of Sullivan. I mean, it may be, the
Yeah.
point where no return now. I
But
mean,
I just think
after
with this
every
group,
coach loses his magic.
I know,
eventually.
but with this group that they have right now, Scotty Bowman couldn't win with this
You
group.
know,
And Badger
I
Bob
agree.
too.
I
And, yeah, I could go from day to day during the course of a week saying, you know, at the end of the year, they need defensemen. I could say that on Monday, that they should draft defensemen. Come Wednesday, I'll say, no, they need wingers. Then by Friday, I'll say, no, they need defensemen.
they need goaltending.
And then I throw the goaltender in, but then the goaltender most of the time is only as good as the defenseman in front of him,
Right.
okay? So, the last thing I wanna see is, if they do decide to blow it up and rebuild it, I sure as hell hope that they don't have a Pittsburgh Pirates style of rebuilding, to where
Takes 50 years.
yeah, they'll take the long-term approach, but they get high draft picks, don't develop them good, and then it's a constant
Yeah.
rebuild from year to year.
You know, do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
I'm hoping that Mario Lemieux is not Bunting or whoever
I
else
think
is in
he's
charge
out
of
of
it.
it.
You actually believe that? You think he's?
I think it's all that, he don't even go to the games anymore. You know how they used to show him sitting up in his suite there, but he don't even go to the games. And when they retired Yager's number here, not too long ago, he didn't even want to go to that. So, it's different situation, obviously.
See, what you're saying is, and that was that nutshell I said, is they're in trouble right now,
Well,
right?
I've said that before.
They're in trouble.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Their ownership,
I just don't, I
Their
don't have the
ownership-
confidence in it.
well, no, their primary concern is the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's right.
Pittsburgh is just a moneymaker for them.
And they're making money.
Even if you're the worst team in the NHL, you're making money. All professional sports franchises make money. I mean,
We said it-
look at Bob Nutting.
We've said it a million times, the Pirates are the only show in
Sure.
town, the Penguins are the only show in town, and the Steelers are the only show.
Right.
But the Steelers put the craziest fans in the world go to their football game, whether they're, and the guy's winning, so they're gonna go watch football games.
Certainly.
They're just want
Certainly.
that, they want that magic.
But the Pirates aren't winning, and people still go.
It's
That's
the
what
stadium.
baffles
It's the
me.
stadium.
It's the stadium.
The
It's
stadium's been there
concessions.
24 years.
I know,
Yeah,
but
but
it's
I'm
still
saying-
a beautiful place to
It is a
watch.
And
beautiful
it's the only
It is.
show in town, Johnny. I think he still averaged over 20,000 people.
And, but what else it is,
Yeah, it's schemes,
is
too.
the fireworks.
Yeah, sure.
And the bobbleheads, and the
Yeah.
beach
And
towels,
the-
and the pen and pencil sets.
Right.
And the concerts.
And the concerts. That's what's bringing a lot of those fans in.
Plus
And the guys
plus
making
the
money
Pirates-
without spending money.
The Pirates do tease you.
Oh,
I
he
mean, they
teases
show you a
all
good product.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but enough to keep you.
Keep you interested.
Plus,
Yeah.
they got skeins.
Yeah.
And you got a guy like that now.
Huge draw.
Here's
At
a
least
good-
every 4 days, they're gonna get.
I
They're
got
gonna get a crowd.
I have a good question. Maybe you know this. How many games did he pitch at Pittsburgh, Skeens? Out of all his record, how many games did he pitch?
I think he
I
had
don't know.
15 starts at home.
Okay, that's 15 times they put 38,000
Oh,
people
yeah.
in the
On
stadium.
a
Oh, yeah,
Wednesday night,
definitely.
On a
on a
Wednesday.
Tuesday night. that
Right.
they would-
Think about it.
And don't think they
38
didn't
times- How
strategically
many did
plan
you say?
that.
I forgot
I
already.
think 15.
So 38,000 times 15.
Yeah.
Do the math. I'm just saying, it's all in the math.
And-
He's
and-
making the money.
And $30 a car to park.
$30
And a
for a
$12 beer and a
That
$5
they
hot
had
dog.
after the All-Star.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
They would have been right there in
I know.
contention,
I just.
but like Sammy says, they're a good tease.
They are. Yeah.
They're the only
They
show in town. What's families buying at Christmas time for Christmas for their kids?
A Skeens jersey.
Yeah, skis, jersey, and
Yeah.
tickets to go to the game. Not maybe one, maybe two, maybe
And
three games.
I think the move to put O'Neill in at center field, I think that was that might have been one of the smartest moves they made.
Oh, yeah.
Never do.
So that was a
Because I
no-brainer.
think,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's gonna help him offensively too.
'Cause he's not a
It's
shortstop.
a
Well,
big,
he's got the speed, he's got the arm.
he's got,
I don't know how many years he had.
I
He had
mean,
it.
He had a whole
He's not a shortstop.
He's
20,
gifted.
22,
He really
23,
is.
or even higher than that, yeah.
Might have been,
Yeah.
might have been higher now.
20 errors, come on.
He
That's
can't
no-
get
That's
it.
20 hours.
yeah. I mean, but until they didn't know what they had behind them. And I think they have confidence now what they got, that who they replaced them with. Enough to get by anyhow. They're not gonna get 20 errors out of them and halfway through the season.
So we're gonna go to another question to you. Is McCutcheon, or is he coming back next year?
I think they'll re-sign him,
Because he draws
because when
too.
you throw all his walks that he gets
Well,
into
yeah.
his average, then he's on base a lot.
And he what? He
And
let
I think for
off,
leadership too,
yeah,
that's
The
something
locker
that
room.
you
He might be the
don't-
best thing in the locker room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need somebody like him in the locker
He's a
room.
fan favorite.
he is,
Yeah.
huge
Fan
fan
favorite.
favorite. And he let off the game, what, 4 times this year with a home run, I think? So he's gonna give you that little
Yeah.
pop that may,
He's,
They love him.
you know,
They
yeah,
do.
sure.
They love him.
Sure.
You know, the fans love him. There's nothing not
And-
to love, really.
And
He hasn't given them a bad image. He
No.
hasn't given nobody. So,
his community
you know, those guys are
service.
few and far between anymore,
Yeah.
the way it's getting to be.
I mean, but what they did to, Roddy Telez at the end
Oh,
of the year
horrible.
was, it's,
Horrible.
someday it's gonna, if you're a free agent, why the hell would you wanna come to Pittsburgh when this guy, how many bats did he need?
When it's your last option, that's when you wanna come.
Three more bats,
Yeah, he would've got.
he would've got 300,000
$300,000.
extra on
They
his.
took money out of his pocket.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
10 years ago, they did the same thing to Jason D'Amico, the pitcher. He needed like 6 more innings. And they
sent him
DFA'd him 5 days before the season
Yeah.
ended. Yeah.
Right now, I don't even know if I would renew my season ticket package that I had with them because of that.
And John, what are you supposed to do? As, if you're a good ownership and he gets close and he doesn't get it, you're supposed to give it to him anyway.
Exactly.
Right? And you've seen teams
Exactly.
do that.
Sure.
Give it to him anyway. You got close. That's good publicity for
Well,
you.
yeah,
Right.
plus Roddy Telez was a good guy in the
Yes.
locker room this year, from all reports.
And it goes back to what Zig said 2 minutes ago. When free agents are looking at what teams they want to come to, a move like that attracts. A move like cutting them, I don't want nothing to do with
Yep,
it.
forget it.
Now, how about those billboards over there building
Oh,
in
yeah.
Pittsburgh?
Some guy's running a
But,
campaign
some guy
to raise
started
money.
on his own
Yeah,
about,
sell the team.
sell the
nothing.
team,
Yeah.
Bob, and all that stuff. And
It's not gonna happen.
They were marching.
The only show in town.
Doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
know.
Look, he's gonna
They
make
were
his
marching.
money.
The guy makes 60 million a
Tony,
year.
you know, like, as
Why
far
is he gonna sell the
You
team?
mentioned they string fans along and whatever. Last year, the Pirates in free agency spent $93 million. Okay?
We talked about that last week.
93 million, and you said, "Ooh, geez, maybe they." Well, what do you think the Dodgers?
Billion. It's billion.
1.4
Billion.
Billion.
That'll put that in the
Put it in perspective.
To quote
They
Kenny
signed Snell.
LeBobe, billion with a B.
I seen it, 180 some million.
180-some million, they signed Snell for
Sell.
the Giants.
For the
For
Dodgers.
what?
To the Dodgers, Dodgers.
Sell.
Yep.
Yeah.
former Pirate.
And what do you think Soto's gonna get wherever he
Oh,
signs?
certainly.
Frankie said give him 500 million.
No, they
get the
said,
farmer.
it's gonna be at least 500 million.
Sure will.
He'll get it, too.
What's his name from the Dodgers?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
700 million.
If they're spending $1 billion, 1 point some.
Guess what, I'd pay these guys on their playoff.
Yeah, really.
They won't make any money.
That's how I pay them.
Judge would be in the minors.
I know.
Although he.
I'm gonna
although
tell
he
you
did have
what,
two
if
big
those
home
guys
runs,
don't enjoy their Thanksgiving dinners,
Oh, man.
nobody does.
That's a good point.
Got that right.
What a brain.
Gee.
Got a brain like Napoleon.
Napoleon's dead.
I'm gonna enjoy mine. And I'm getting Social Security, and I'm happy.
We get our Social Security. I get mine at the end of the month. I don't know. When do you guys get it? I don't know.
Social Security?
Yeah.
I get mine the second Wednesday of every month.
I get it at the
I
end.
get it.
Goes by your, goes by your
Brilliance?
birthday. Your lack of hair.
I took the heat off of you a little bit tonight.
Yeah, thank you, because Randy's not here. Gee,
Impressive, too.
I feel refreshed.
What did you say? Brilliance.
Brilliance.
That means my brother would never get his.
Oh, Eddie, but anyway, listen, guys, thanks, Tony, thank you, Denny, my brother Denny, thank you. Thank you guys for coming down tonight. Randy couldn't make it tonight, and we'll be back next week. We got Jeff Oprian coming here next week,
Talking baseball.
talking baseball. So Zig, get some muscle up, some questions for him. He's gonna talk about Little League at the back in the day when he played, and the way Little League is today.
You were his coach.
Yeah, Jeff Oprian. He lives on the same house
Addis Street.
Addis.
Yep. Another guy from
Great
the old
kid.
neighborhood.
Yep, and Jeff is a great talker.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll have but we want him to, and he's all for it. He's gonna talk, like I said, how it was back when he played and what it's like
Is
today.
he still involved with NESHANNOCK, the athletic
I think
association and all that?
he helps,
Yeah, his son
announce.
coaches up there.
He helps announce, I
Oh,
think.
really?
Basketball.
Announce a football
We
game.
played, if you
Think
were the
he's a ninth grade
16th
coach.
guy, you didn't make the team.
That's
No,
right.
No.
Better luck next year.
No,
You're right, Paul.
Work harder.
You know, I'll tell a quick story about Jeff, and
Work
he'll
hard.
probably tell the
Yeah,
story, and
just
I might
work.
have said it here before. When he was a little kid, they had, if you remember, I remember, Denny remembers, the guys at Bobby, Frank, Johnny, and Chip, they played the American League and the National League.
Right,
remember?
right.
Now, when I played, Ziggy played, it was just one league. Then I think it came on later when you guys, they had two teams. So Jeff went to a tryout to make the tryout for the American League. I might be wrong how old he was. I'm thinking he was 10. He didn't make the team. So for some reason, my dad was down there watching the kids practice because he had the big team. He had down at Dean Park. So Jeff was real dejected, walking up the hill by the Armory. My dad pulled next to him. He goes, "What happened, kid?" You know, my dad called everybody kid. He didn't know their name. He called kid. He said, "What happened?" He said,
Everybody.
"I got cut." You know, he was real dejected. My dad said, "You can come and play for me." Well, Jeff will never forget that. And he ended up being a decent,
Oh, yeah.
not because our dad coached him, he
was a
just
good ball
became
player,
a
yeah.
good ball player. He was a good coach. And the kids, he's still playing today as he's 60 years
Yeah,
old.
he
plays
plays in the
baseball.
60
Still
and over.
plays
league.
Older than
Yeah.
60, he's
But
probably 63.
I'm not sure if
Probably
it's
is,
true,
yeah.
but they went to the American League to keep more kids.
Right, to keep more kids from coming
Right, I
out.
mean,
come out.
like if you played for Third Ward, there was
He
a Third
didn't-
Ward American,
Right.
Third Ward National.
Yep.
He didn't make the team. My dad put him on the team, and he played 3 years for my dad in the National League.
I was gonna say, did your dad coach National League?
He played the national, he coached in the national, but it was the Dean Park League.
Yes.
And it was the Fifth Ward, because that's where we're from, the Fifth.
And then when we played, when we started, it was Fifth Ward. And I think you finished
My brother was
still with Fifth Ward,
Fourth Ward.
or Fourth Ward.
Then
Then
they
they had the
combined with the
45s.
And Chris-
They had the 45s.
Chris and I played on the same team.
45s.
The
Colt
45s.
Now they,
That's
Tony,
right.
that's how far it was, now they
Yeah.
don't even, they just mix teams up.
Yeah.
now. They just-
John's closer in
It's all
age
watered
to me
down.
with baseball, so if I remember, John, American League was like sort of the minors, right? That's
Right.
where you started.
Yeah.
You didn't
National
go,
League,
you didn't
right.
go play for Mr. Flora first.
Right.
You played American
We
League,
started out at
9 and 10.
Field
And then
and-
if you thought you were good enough, then you said, let me try for national.
try.
But
for the
Bobby,
national team, yep.
Ziggy, Frank, me, and Denny didn't have that. We played it in Dean Park, and that was it.
That was it,
If you
one
weren't
league.
one of the 12 or 14 kids, you didn't play. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
You played Little League Baseball, 11 and 12. You played the Fifth Ward, Fourth Ward, Third Ward, all the way down the line. There was 8 teams, but then they modified it, like Chip was saying.
Right.
They had 8 teams, first, second, third ward, sixth, 8th ward. Now today, it's just mumbo jumbo now. It's just,
And Mr. Joseph sponsored the whole league.
he
right?
did.
Yeah,
He did.
and I think Art Mittler had a lot to do with the,
Quite a few years,
laying down Mittler.
Yes, yes.
till one coach killed it all.
Yeah, the legendary.
Never mind.
Well, we're gonna skip that stuff.
Better.
But anyway, we're gonna get out of here, but on
Who is
December,
it?
go ahead, what were you saying?
Tony got the look on his face like,
What?
I wonder who that is.
You'll have to tell him when we shut the camera
I'll
off.
find out later. I'll find out later.
Okay, December 18th is our Toys for Tots. We talked about it last week. It's gonna be right here. We're gonna be doing the show downstairs, and it's, the show will have John Sarandra, former coach here at Newcastle basketball. He was the principal and the superintendent in the school
His
district.
birthday yesterday.
It was his birthday,
Oh, yeah.
Thursday. Happy
Really?
birthday, John. He'll be here on the 18th. We'll do the show for an hour or so, and then we'll have, if you want to bring some toys down will be downstairs doing it, and we did the same thing as last year. We gave 30 families out last year. We're gonna try to do a little more this year. So, you don't have to bring them wrapped, you can just bring a toy from whatever you have.
Wherever.
And whatever you had, and my daughter Rachel is, she'll have the names for us. So, guys, we'll need the help, if you can. we'll pass them out. But anyway, thanks for coming tonight. It's a great show. Tony, thank you. Denny, thank you. Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for out there. So we're together. It's a lot of families don't have what we have, in all parts of the world. So we're lucky to be where we're at today.
Thankful for each one of these guys to consider you all my friends.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're all thankful for that. And,
Family, friends, and football, that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. But anyway, Bobby, you can end it.
Keep working.
Good night.
Fee, 5-4, nothing to a giant. Waited my turn, call it perfect time and trust the most high. Got the stars aligning, I was tapped in. I've been strategizing, dreams coming true. I've been fantasizing while you criticize. Pay attention to the signs, symbolize. Feel like a legend, they go idolized. Ayy, I'm a hero, wear my cape. Independent leader made a way. I'm the people's voice, your purple ray. Stuck to my pace, the turtle win the race. The trophies on trophies, views from the townscape. Change is great praise, then I had to skate. God told me time to go elevate. Chosen child, I'm the champ now, not a featherweight.